Over the last 6 months, Sam and I have been sharing our family stories and lore with all of you, with a little bit of history thrown in too, of course. We've gone through tales of ghosts, criminals, ancestors, and all of the unknown in-betweens. Whether you've been with us since the beginning, are a casual listener, or you are here for the first time, we just want to say thank you. And what better way to thank you than to give you the mic and share some of the stories you've submitted to us over the past 6 months. That's right. Today's special guest is you. Tonight's stories involve family memories, dreams, and family secrets. Welcome to Family Stories Edition 1. This is Who Are You? Curious Stories of Family Lore. I'm Weetzie, and today I'm solo. Sam is off in Florida celebrating her friends getting married, so I figured this would be a good week to share some stories sent in by you guys. The past couple of weeks have honestly been so chaotic and hectic that being able to sit down and edit the intended episode this week has not happened as quickly as I had hoped. So, this episode is late, but it is also all about you guys. I've been working on a separate episode, editing in the background, and it's coming along, but it's going to be a little bit. So maybe next week, maybe the week after. Either way, I don't want to rush it for a deadline. I want it to be good and worth your time. So we are going to jump into 3 stories that I thought all they're different, but they have similarities within them. And one is from somebody in New York, so I figured, why not? This will be pretty cool. So thank you to those of you who submitted. And if you would like to share a story, you can remain anonymous. Just let us know when you write the email. Or if you want us to say your name or you don't mind, then you can also tell us that too. But our email address is wrupodcast@gmail.com. WRU is letters. So wrupodcast@gmail.com. Or you can send us a message on Instagram at Who Are You Podcast. The word who, the letter R, the letter U. You should be able to find us. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Here's the first story. Hi, my name is Alex, and I just started listening to you too because I saw a YouTube short about the Oneida community, which caught my attention. I grew up near Little Falls, New York, and always have grown up hearing about the Oneida community and their weird practices. Okay, I don't know if you guys heard that. But I definitely just heard something just fell next to my foot, but there's nothing there and I'm alone. So anyways, back to Alex's story. Creepy. Their practices. I listened to all 3 episodes you did on them, and I had to write in after I found something while going through my grandfather's house. So, just to set the scene a bit, Little Falls is about an hour or so away from Oneida, where the Oneida community was, and I'd always been told that we have family from the Oneida area. My mom always specifically said that we have no connection to the Oneida community, especially if jokes were ever made about some of our family being from there. And my grandfather would always get really pissed whenever somebody would make a joke, which was honestly pretty often at whatever family event we were at. It was always the family members in the generation before me, and mostly came from the men of the family. Excuse me. I was born in the 70s, so by the time I was a teenager, it was the 90s, and Oneida Limited silverware was a booming business. You couldn't go anywhere in the central New York area without hearing about Oneida Limited. I agree. I grew up in Oneida though, so maybe it's different. The locally made silverware by local people with a wild history. I guess I never really thought much into it. I mean, it is a crazy thing that happened so close to us. I had just assumed anyone within the state of New York who grew up when I did or before would be familiar with the Oneida quote-unquote cult. When my grandfather had to be moved to a nursing home this past November, I was tasked with going through some of his stuff with my uncles and my mom. My mom asked me to go through the crawl space contents because I have zero fear of spiders, or any bugs for that matter. Side note, I love all things Lepidoptera, Lepidoptera, and have spent my life collecting moths and butterflies that I've found dead and preserving them in shadow boxes with pins. Lepidoptera is basically just a fancy word for winged bugs, like moths and butterflies. Okay, well that makes sense. That clarifies. I know, I'm a creep, but I love me a Morpho Menalis, in parentheses, blue Morpho for those of you who like Animal Crossing, which I do, and is one of the only reasons I know what that is, and also because of the butterfly thing at the Strong. But that's not about me right now. Anyways, very cool. I think that's not weird at all. That doesn't make you creepy. And Brad's mom has some butterflies like that, like on display with little pins. I think they have pins. Maybe they don't have pins in them, actually. So I'm in the crawl space, digging through boxes to pull out into the attic, when I find this metal box that's locked. It looks like an old military tin, something that would have been issued during maybe World War I or II or something, I don't know. I've attached a picture of a similar one to this email. Oh, okay. Let me pull that up. Hold on. Oh, yeah, that does. I see what you mean. It's like thin. I'll post this on social media. I can't explain it. It just looked like old military. Yeah, I can see that. My dad had like a one of those canteens, and he had also, I don't know, some sort of like metal tin container. So, okay, back to Alex's story again. I lost my spot. My grandfather wasn't a veteran, and as far as I can tell, oh, sorry, nope. My grandfather wasn't a veteran, and as far as I could remember, neither was my dad. My grandpa was born in 1945, and his dad was born in 1915. My great grandpa was born in the late 1880s, and my great great grandpa was born in the 1850s. I remember John Humphrey Noyes was alive from the early 1800s until the 1880s. Noyes was active in Oneida in the 1840s, and the community was in full swing in the 1850s. Lots of dates and numbers there, but yes, I am kind of following. I'm following. The story in my family was that my great great grandpa was a quote unquote bastard child, as they offensively called him back then. Basically, what I know about him is that his so-called dad abandoned him and his mom, aka my grandma, when he was just a baby. Great grandma, but grandma, right? Hold on. Yeah, his great grandma. Great great grand. Wait. This would be I'm going to reread this one second. My great-grandpa was born in the late 1880s, and my great-great-grandpa was born in the 1850s. I remember John Humphrey Noyes was active during like full swing community in the 1850s. The story is my family was that my great-great-grandpa. Okay, so yeah, your great-great-grandpa was the baby in question, and it was your great-great-great-grandma when you say grandma. Okay. Basically, what I know about him is that his so-called dad abandoned him and his mother, aka your great-great-great-grandma, when he was just a baby, forcing her to the streets where they remained homeless in Syracuse, New York for a couple of years before she met another man and would raise my great-great-grandpa as his own, even adopting him and giving us his last name. Well, that's cool. So did they stop like calling him the offensive name? Because my gosh. I have no idea what his last name was before or my grandmother's, so that is the story that is told and passed down in my family. However, within this box that looks old as dirt, I found a photograph and big paper envelope of letters. I took them out of the crawl space and into the main part of the attic so I could see them better. The photographs were old and the black in them kind of shined when I moved them under the light. Oh, that would be an albumin print. Side note, this is Wheatsy speaking. An old print, if you find an old print and if it's on like cardstock or thicker like paper, and you move it back and forth under a light, if you see a metallic sheen like that in the shadows, it's an albumin print. And what an albumin print is a print that is made using egg whites, because the albumin binds to the silver nitrate and causes a latent image. But anyways, it's not important. Just side note, anytime you find an old photograph that does that, it's probably an albumin print. Maybe. Good possibility. Okay, so wow. In the photo were 3 people. A woman holding a newborn baby and a man smiling wide next to them. They were outside in front of a house under construction, large from what I could tell. Standing around the houses, farther in the background, was a group of people all dressed eerily similar. Yeah. They stood on the half-made porch, all creepily posing but trying to appear candid, seemingly, maybe. That's in parentheses here. Guys, I shit you not that the second I realized that the man looked like John Humphrey Noyes, I almost shit my pants. I was holding a picture of what I can only assume was my great-great-great-grandmother with her son, and her original baby daddy being that of Jonathan goddamn Humphrey Noyes. LOL. I said LOL. He didn't say LOL because his name's John. It's not actually Jonathan, so it's funny to call him Jonathan. I put everything back in the box and went downstairs to show my mom, and I set it on the kitchen counter. She wasn't there, so I went out to the backyard to look for her, and she was out there digging in the yard. When I asked her what she was doing, she said she was digging up his rose bushes to bring to her house. When I told her I think I found a picture of John Humphrey Noyes in a tin box from the crawl space, her face went white. I highly doubt that, she said blankly. Where did you put it? She took off her gloves and walked past me through the door into the kitchen. I followed behind her and saw her take the box off the counter. I told her to open it and look, but she ignored me and just asked if I found anything else as she kept walking. No, but where are you taking it? I asked her as she walked out the front door. I'm putting it with the stuff to send to Dad, which is my grandpa. I'm putting it with the stuff to send to my dad, parentheses, which is my grandpa, was the only explanation I got. After that, I asked her about it again, and she said she looked at the pictures but didn't think it was him or the mansion house, but she agreed it looked similar. She told me my grandpa has the box now and to just let it go. Fuck that. Here's my story. Let me know what you guys think. I totally think that my great 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 grandma met noise and got pregnant, then for some reason decided fuck this actually and fled to Syracuse, where she was homeless until she met my great 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 grandpa. My mom acted way too weird when I said John's name. Anyways, thanks for reading this if you are, and even more thanks if it makes it to the show. Alex. That's crazy. I wish you had the picture. It seems like she took it and gave it to your grandpa, quote unquote, potentially. Yeah. I would go visit your grandpa and get that tin box and get that picture, because I guess he would keep it because it's his great great grandpa if it's your great great great. So wild. Anyways, thank you for sending that to us. That's pretty crazy. Alrighty. Next story. Second one of 3. Hey, who are you gals? My name's Leah and I found your podcast through TikTok. Oh, that's crazy because we barely post on there anymore. I do the posting, but I don't really use TikTok. Sam actually uses TikTok more, so she should probably give up on that and hand the reins to her. So that's cool to know that you found us on TikTok. I really loved your episode about Dutch hexes and folk magic. You should really look into the Hex House murder. I think that would be really cool. I don't know how you'd connect it to your family, but I still think I'd be interested in hearing you guys tell it. She said, but I'd still be interested in hearing you guys tell it. I hope you read this on your podcast. I would love to win a Dutch hex. So I wanted to share this story with you all because I finally feel like it fits somewhere to tell. All my life, I've been able to lucid dream and do basically whatever I want to do in my dreams. I am able to fall asleep and awake in what I have come to call the dream space. This is like the central hub that has a bunch of doors on the side, almost like a honeycomb. I can go around a curve and it leads to more pockets of doors. None of them are labeled, but I always know where they lead. This one time, that's really cool. That's such a cool visual. I feel like I'm there. That's cool. This one time I got to the dream space and was making my way through the honeycomb to decide where to go, when all of a sudden I saw a black, shadowy figure zoom by one of the doors, as if they were inside that dream room, but had just ran past the door. I can't explain it, but it felt separate from my mind, almost like a ripple went through the entire dreamscape, or a silent alarm of an intruder was going off in my subconscious mind. That is so spooky. Oh my gosh. That would terrify me. I felt like someone else was behind that door. Without hesitating, I knew I had to figure it out. I said that I usually could tell where each door would lead without actually seeing it. This time it was different. I had no idea what was on the other side of the door. All I saw was a light coming from it that had vanished when the figure ran across. I could actually feel my physical body sweating, and I became aware that I was about to leave the physical vessel of said body. Oh my God, what? Like, even though I was dreaming, I felt like I was also simultaneously wide awake, but in a different form. Oh my God, that would freak me out. This became stronger as I passed into the doorway. I started falling from the sky and realized the door had led to the surface of what looked like the sun. Oh my God. I was falling from a black abyss and into a fireball. The endless vastness all around me. Holy shit. Earth looked like a little dot in the distance. My entire physical body that was back on my bed was burning up, My sweat was soaking every inch of fabric I was wearing. Suddenly, something tight grabbed my wrist. What are you doing here? How did you get here? I looked and saw what looked to be my kid cousin, who passed away a couple years ago. Oh, that is so sad, but also like crazy that's him. Before I could even say anything, he pushed me with all his might towards space. As I was hurtling back into the nothingness, he called out to me and said, "Don't take the ride," over and over as I felt myself falling back into the gravity of the earth. Excuse me. I felt myself crash through my room and slam into my body. I sat up in bed as I flew and I sat up in bed as I flew off it, breathing hard and sweating. I was so disoriented that was the first time any dream had ever been out of my control. I had no idea what to make of it, so I just tried to clean myself up and go back to sleep. Fast forward to like 2 weeks later or something, and I'm walking to school. I lived close enough to walk, but it was still quite a ways. On this morning, a car pulled up, and inside was one of my good friends and her dad. "Hop in, we can give you a ride," her dad said cheerfully. My stomach dropped. My kid cousin's voice from the dream pierced into my ears. Why shouldn't I take the ride? I wondered. As politely as I could, I made up some excuse that I wanted to walk for the exercise and decompression of my mind before school. I waved at them as they drove off, my friend smiling as she rolled her window up. So I keep walking, and not even 4 minutes later, I hear sirens somewhere up ahead, between me and the school. I start to run because the first thing I think is that something has happened to my friend and her dad. I begin to panic, and I'm running as fast as I can. Oh my God, I'd be shitting my pants. Sure enough, I can see in the distance there are two cars that have crashed. One is clearly my friend and her dad's car. I want to scream and cry as I'm running. I'm so focused on the crash that I don't see that my friend and her dad are safely to the side of the road, being helped by medical personnel. No, the first thing I see is that the entire back of the car has been smashed in by another car. The car had ran a red light and smashed directly into the back passenger seat. If I had taken the ride, I would have 100% died. My friend and her dad were unharmed. When I told her later about the dream and why I refused the ride, she believed me. Eventually, I shared this dream with my aunt, my cousin's mom, when I felt like she would be receptive to it. Her response shocked me. "Oh, so it does get passed down. I used to see my uncle in my dreams. He would warn me of things to come through quick little messages like that." Since then, my family members have began sharing their dream stories, and what we've discovered is that a lot of us see our ancestors and relatives in our dreams. And I think that's beautiful. Holy crap, me too. It makes me want to cry. That actually makes me want to cry. I truly believe my cousin saved my life and is still very much existing somewhere beyond the dream space. Thanks for reading, Leah. Wow. Wow. That's a great, wow. It's a great story. That makes me want my mom to come visit me in my dreams. And awesome that your cousin, warned you. And I'm glad you're still here to write that. He saved your life. That is so wild. All right. And last but not least, we have one more story. And this one, so we've had two different stories, kind of, pretty different. One has to do with dreams. The other one has to do with finding family secrets. This one, I kind of feel like, is a combination of both. So that's why it's last. Here we are. Hello, you can call me Jason for this story. My name is not Jason. I'm changing my name because this story involves a dark family memory, and I would just prefer none of them to potentially connect themselves to it. Not that anybody in the story is actually alive, but other family members are. Trigger warning. This story contains mentions of homicide and violence, specifically against women. I won't be graphic, but I still think I should warn you. I'm writing in to share a story in response to your episode about inherited memory. I 100% know this to be a thing because when I was a kid, I used to dream about a barn all the time. This barn was big, 2.5 stories, and was made of unpainted wood. The doors were rickety and were hard to open with rusted metal latches that never actually latched. Right inside there was a loft towards the back with a ladder, and on the sides on the ground level were pigs in a pen to the right, and cows in individual stalls like horses to the left. Hanging from the ceiling from a long metal chain was this massive metal hook that hung about 6 feet off the ground. It was rusty, and the ground beneath it always looked wet. I would always enter the barn and have to go hide in the pig's pen because at the same time, like clockwork, a man would enter the barn in a butcher's uniform, apron, long gloves, rubber boots, hairnet but rubber too. He was filthy. His light strawberry blonde hair was caked with a reddish-brown substance that was also all over his clothes. He would drag in this woman who was nude. This is where the trigger warning comes in. He would drag in this woman who was nude except for underwear and unconscious. And he would assumably string her up on the hook and butcher her alive. But in my dream, I never watched. I hid behind the watering bin and closed my eyes. As soon as I would hear the woman begin to scream, I would force myself to wake up. Sometimes it would take longer, other times I'd wake up immediately. This dream terrified me for years. The same exact one, randomly, for years. Fast forward to one Thanksgiving when we finally have a big family get-together after years of not doing one. We had cousins, uncles, grandpa and grandma, everyone. Somehow, someone brought up how the baked beans needed more bacon. Suddenly, someone brought up how the baked beans needed more bacon, to which my drunk aunt, let's call her Peggy, said, "Why don't you ask your great uncle, let's call him Mark, about his piggies?" Angrily, my grandma slammed her fist onto the table and yelled, "Enough," a gesture that startled the ever-living fuck out of everyone, because it was loud. But Aunt Peggy was not backing down. Enough of what? Talking about the piggies? Or is it about what he was really doing in the barn? To which my aunt was nearly tackled out of the room by half of the table as my grandmother ran for her. I sat there stirring my mashed potatoes, keeping my mouth shut while realizing that perhaps I knew exactly what he was doing in there. I never said anything to anyone, and I never planned to, except for this podcast. This dinner was years ago now, and my aunts, uncles, and grandma have all since passed. I believe I inherited a memory of one of my uncles and what they experienced as a kid, hiding from their dad as he abused women in the barn. It's sad as hell, but it makes a lot of sense. Anyways, thanks for reading, and keep up the good work. Your show is great so far. Jason, but not Jason. Thanks, Jason, but not Jason. What a way to end this episode. I believe that we inherit memories, and if something is traumatic enough that you experience, if you were scared enough, that created like an imprint that we talked about previously, and that got passed down to you and you replayed it as a kid. Did you say that it continued? I don't think you ever said that it like stopped, but it would be crazy that like if once you realized it was a memory that you inherited that it stopped, or if you still get it as an adult. I don't know, but I'm really, really sorry that first of all you had to experience that as a kid and not being able to like change it. You're like stuck in this loop. And then two, that if that potentially is a memory that you're having, like that's really, really sad. And I hope that it's not, but also it would be wild if it is. So those are the 3 stories that we are sharing today. And once again, if you have a story that you would like us to read on the show, please send us an email at wrupodcast@gmail.com or shoot us a messenger on Instagram or YouTube. Look for who, the word, and then the letters RU, Curious Stories of Family Lore. You should be able to find us and then send us a message, and we would love to share your story for the next edition of this. So, next week we'll be back with more tales, more interviews, more collabs in the future, and we really appreciate all you guys listening. We love doing this, and even though recently it's been hectic, I still look forward to putting episodes out, and I know Sam does too, and she'll be back next episode ready to go. So thanks for being here, fam, and never stop asking yourselves, who are you?